Hello, healthy people. Jeremy Tillman here with Project Adonis. Today what we're going to be doing is going over an app available on iOS devices and Android operating systems, MyFitnessPal. Let's get into it. Launch the app. Okay, from the get-go, over here on the left shows a little bit about calorie intake. Now, depending on how I have your diet set up, your nutritional protocol, maybe using this number, maybe not. It all depends on what we're going to be doing. Some news feeds down at the bottom, but over here, let's open up the main menu here. To get this set up, go to goals first. Now we have, when you set the app up from the get-go, it's going to ask you these questions. Let's say my new goal is 180 pounds. Boom. Put it in. It's updated. Current weight, let's say my weight changed over the day. Today this is what it is, so I'm just going to keep that. Otherwise you'd edit it and change it appropriately. Set that. As far as weight loss per week, it goes up to a maximum of 2 pounds per week because that's what we have for the status quo as far as being healthy weight loss. You can lose more weight than that. It's totally possible and it's easy. As far as losing slower weight, those with direct contraindications to weight loss, heart disease, history of heart attack, blood profiles that are just totally, out of whack. We want health risk individuals and clients to actually go slower. That's the recommendation, so we're not going to go against recommendation, especially if there's contraindications. Your activity level, set that, however your work lifestyle is like and how much you're exercising. Down here, nutritional goals. These are your macronutrient profiles. Under advanced nutritional goals, you'll have some of your micro profiles. Micro profiles are set pretty well. They're standardized, and so we're going to keep that where it's at. Now, let's say if we want to edit and we are on a nutritional advisement for a certain amount of calories, depending on if I have you do one of the two main groups, either low carbohydrate or low fat. Some of those will track calories, some of them will not, but that is all dependent upon making the diet easy for you and what gives you the fastest and easiest results. So let's say we're doing a low carbohydrate example. Low carbohydrate philosophy, which works for some people and it's not going to be for other people. But generally, if we're doing a low carbohydrate, we're going to be looking at between 10 to 20% of the carbohydrate. So let's say we're at 15. That should come out to be around 75 grams. For low carbohydrate, no more than 100 grams per day. That's going to slow down the process of weight loss. If you're targeting a maximum of 50, where your percentage would probably be somewhere around 10%, your weight loss will be extremely fast if you're doing the low carbohydrate diet. If you're doing the low fat diet, then we want to keep those down, just basically exchanging the fat for carbs, but that totally depends on what your body's going to respond to, and especially in the neighborhood of scientific rationale regarding insulin sensitivity or lack thereof. So let's set this up. Let's say we're doing 40% fat, which sounds ridiculous, but when you're doing a low carb, the fat is going to be satisfying. Satiation is what it's called. We call thirst quenching and fat and diet and nutrient satiation. So let's set that up, and we have to have it to 100%. So if we were going strict by the 2000 kind of American standardized caloric intake, we'd have 75 grams carbs, was spot on at 15%, 225 in protein, which that's a little bit high for most people, and digestive systems on a lot of people probably couldn't do that. So let's go ahead and change that. Let's lower that down to 40 a little bit, just for the example, and up to 45 allows me to set it because it's at 100%. So it's a little bit less. Calculating the protein intake, use a little equation to figure that out. Could go into advanced nutrition goals, but not stressed about it. So let's go ahead and save that. We'll go back. It should update. 2,000 calories a day. Now let's go ahead and get into this app and where I really like it. Okay, so under the Friends tab, you're going to add me in here. I'm going to send you a request, or maybe it's not a request. Maybe it's finding friends. Add friends. Now this is a new MyFitnessPal account for me because I'm restarting it because this is my new approach to tracking what you're taking in for nutrition. So do that through email, contacts, Facebook as well. If I set up my MyFitnessPal through my Facebook page, Project Adonis, then we'll do that there. Let's say we're going into diary, and this is where this app really shines, okay? So we have 4 categories right off the get-go. There is an additional category for hydration, and that is so necessary, especially with tracking your daily weight. And we'll get into that probably in another video. So let's say we're going to add dinner. These are choices that we've already eaten. Let's say we have, let's go back to today. Swiping left and right will change the menu. For some reason it wants to keep on going over. Alright, adding in dinner, add food. So let's say we're eating something that I've had recently. You also have my foods up here. You have frequent foods. My foods are things that you customly put in because it wasn't in the database. So let's say we have some swinefish. And you know what? Serving sizes are predetermined. 4 ounces is an average fillet, but let's say I didn't have a fillet and a half. Let's say I had a whole 2 fillets. I'm going to enter that in. See down here in this lower left side, it's 255. I update it, 340 calories. Okay, add that in. It gets calculated in. Now let's say I have something else with dinner. Let's say I'm doing a new food, so I go to add food, and I'm going to click on the barcode scanner and get what my new food is. Now, if your food doesn't have a nutrition label, I wouldn't just by concept recommend eating it. So it scans it in. This is a big jar of coconut oil. Now, once again, 1 tablespoon is standard size. These down here are predetermined, so we'll modify the settings. Let's say I cooked my swinefish in 2 tablespoons, 2 servings of coconut oil. The 120 calories turned into 240 calories. Here we have the macro and micronutrient profiles set up to how the USDA or whoever has that mainly set. So it shows a few of the primary micronutrients, even though there are more, and some of them are very important, like omega-3s and so on and so forth. So we'll just have supplementation, and we'll look at that here. If we go into nutrition, we have 2 tabs over here. Pie chart to show you just kind of a nice visual representation and a detailed view. Now the category that I care about is this one, what you're actually taking in. I may put more attention, especially if we really have it set to a caloric intake, the goal, and what you have left over. But for micronutrients, if we're seeing a discrepancy, a shortage in vitamin A, vitamin C, then supplementation. Real easy to do that. So let's go over the pie chart view. Just from what I put in, I'm looking at a lot of protein from the swinefish and a lot of fat, no carbohydrates yet. So it tells me what's going on there. Let's go back to the main menu. Diary, went over that. That's the barcode scanner, the really beautiful feature of this. Let's go into progress. Let's take a look at what I've been doing over the last few weeks as I've re-downloaded this app. So it shows where I started. Downloaded the app on the 22nd or the 23rd, so that's my start point. And when I talk about really good weight loss, this is what I mean. This is just under 3 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks and 6 days. So we see weight loss from 207.8 down to 20, or excuse me, what is the weight today? What do I weigh in? 193.2, okay? So we're going to keep that one. I'm going to flip the screen here really quick. All right. See these little peaks right here? Boom, boom, boom. This is the part when people are weighing in daily and they see an uptick and it becomes discouraging and can alter pretty much their psyche. And what gets at risk with these peaks is letting go, stopping. And even myself, I've lost 14.6 or 14.8 pounds in just under 3 weeks. So I talk about fast fat loss, fast body weight reduction. It's a reality, but we're going to have these peaks along the way. Now, these can revolve around cheat meals, which do get programmed in depending on where your starting point is. Might be a month until you have a cheat meal, maybe just be 2 weeks until you have a cheat meal. And regardless, we'll see these upticks. And what I do is I correlate the data between what's called bioelectrical impedance analysis, BIA, and your weight. This program doesn't track your body fat percentage, your body fat mass, your lean muscle mass, weight and percentage, or your water retention. It does have a few extra inputs here for circumference measurements, which I might use, but I would prefer to use a different program to do that. But if you're primarily using this app, we can track that. So that's additional information. So we take the correlation between high points, look back, compare that to your nutrition input for the day of those high points, revolving around it, seeing if there's sensitivities with some type of food. Beef, for instance, has a higher amount of creatine phosphate, which usually means you retain more water. So if we have water retention from BIA, we can look at that too. Now, bioelectrical impedance isn't accurate day-to-day basis. It depends on a few things, but if we use mean value, we can really actually average out and see an accurate information over the course of 2 weeks to a month and so on and so forth into the future. So that stuff is really important, but MyFitnessPal is mainly for entering in the nutrition, barcode scanning foods, and if the food doesn't have a barcode, let's say you go to the grocery store, pick something up from the deli, you can use your app in the store to see if that food is in there. But if you don't know what's going into your body, you can't have valuable input, valuable data. I can't run a good analysis on it. I can't correlate foods to changes in the mass weight, the lean muscle mass weight, body fat percentage, water retention. But if we're getting foods that do have barcodes and can be scanned and tracked, I can write an excellent nutrition program. I can do an awesome job with your training as well. 70% of your results are going to come from this nutrition. All this stuff that comes in, this data makes it accurate. And that's the plus about this program and being on here. We could use the messages section down here, but phone calls and text messages are a lot easier. I use my own clock and alarm settings built into the phone, but you could set that up and through the reminders to do that. So one more note about bioelectrical impedance. It's great for people that have a little bit of extra weight to lose. So for a male, if you're between 8 and 12, you're awesome. You're totally in the high healthy area. And even above 12 to 16 to 18%, you're still healthy, very healthy. You start to be overweight, especially when you get into the 20s. So it's really from 16 and above that BIA works really well. Below that, it just has inaccuracy, and so the better way to track it is through calipers, and that's not daily, but BIA is, and we can find the average. For women, if you're between 17, 21, 22%, you're doing fantastically awesome. If you're between 22 to 29%, you're still super healthy. You could lose a few more pounds of body fat, and so I would say between 26, 27 and above percent body fat, bioelectrical impedance works really well for these individuals too. Below that, once again, calipers are a better option. So that's MyFitnessPal. Get it, download it. I track that daily. I put that information in, and it goes to benefiting your program. So writing my programs for you and doing that, it needs this kind of information. Thank you. I'm Jeremy Tillman, Project Adonis.